The morning sun had just begun to rise over the towering glass building of Harville Tech Industries, painting its silver facade with streaks of gold. Employees hurried inside, clutching coffee cups and briefcases, the hum of ambition in the air. Among them moved a man who went mostly unnoticed, a janitor in blue overalls, his step steady, his expression weary yet kind. His name was Ethan Cole. To most, he was just the man who cleaned the floors, fixed broken lights, and emptied trash cans. But behind those tired eyes and rough hands was a father fighting battles no one saw. Ethan was a single dad to a little girl named Lucy, just 7 years old, bright, talkative, and with a smile that made his darkest days bearable. His wife had passed away in a car accident 3 years ago, and since then, Ethan had been doing everything he could to hold his small world together. Nights were spent mopping office floors, and mornings were for making pancakes and walking Lucy to school before heading back to work. His co-workers rarely noticed the pain behind his smile. To them, he was just another janitor. But one ordinary Monday morning was about to change everything, not just for Ethan, but for the entire company. Before we continue this powerful story, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that good people can make a difference in unexpected ways, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, Kindness Tales. Your support helps us share more real, emotional stories that inspire hearts all around the world. It all began in the company parking lot. The CEO, Claire Matthews, had just stepped out of her sleek black sedan. She was young for her position, only 35, confident, and sharp, known for her discipline and focus. Most employees respected her but kept their distance. Her world was numbers, deals, and deadlines. She had no time for distractions or emotions. As she locked her car and adjusted her blazer, she didn't notice the van slowly approaching from behind. Ethan, who had been sweeping near the entrance, did. He froze for a second, his instincts kicking in. Something about that van didn't feel right, the way it slowed near Claire, the tinted windows, the way the driver's hand hovered near the door handle. Then he saw it, a man inside holding a syringe. Without thinking, Ethan dropped his broom and ran forward, yelling with all the force in his lungs, "Don't get in the car." The shout startled everyone. Claire turned sharply, confused and alarmed. At that exact moment, the van door flew open. A masked man lunged out, but before he could reach her, Ethan tackled him to the ground. The syringe flew from the attacker's hand, shattering on the pavement. Security guards rushed over, and within moments, the man was restrained. The van sped off, leaving chaos in its wake. Claire stood frozen, her heart pounding as she processed what had just happened. Ethan's hands were trembling. His glove was torn, his arm scraped. Yet all he cared about was whether Claire was safe. "Are you okay, ma'am?" he asked, breathless. For a moment, she couldn't find words. The woman who always kept her composure now felt her world spinning. If not for the janitor's shout, if not for that single moment, she might have been kidnapped or worse. Security escorted Claire inside, and the police were called. Investigations revealed that the attackers were hired by a rival company to intimidate her into dropping a major merger deal. The entire office buzzed with shock. Whispers spread like wildfire, the janitor saved the CEO. But for Ethan, it wasn't about recognition. He went back to his routine, quietly mopping the same floors, though his body ached from the struggle. He didn't expect gratitude. He never did. The next morning, however, everything changed. Claire walked into the building, her heels clicking across the polished floor. She stopped when she saw Ethan working near the lobby. He quickly straightened, ready to move aside. But instead of walking past, she called his name. "Ethan, right?" she asked. He nodded, unsure. She took a deep breath and said, "You saved my life yesterday. I want to thank you properly." Her voice trembled slightly, the steel-like CEO now showing something few had seen before, vulnerability. She invited him to her office later that day. Ethan arrived nervous, still in his worn blue uniform. The room smelled of coffee and polished wood. She asked him to sit, and for the first time, she truly saw him, not as a janitor, but as a man who had sacrificed everything for others. She learned about Lucy, his late wife, his struggles to make ends meet. As he spoke, she found herself quietly moved. When he mentioned he sometimes skipped meals to ensure his daughter had enough, she had to look away to hide her tears. That afternoon, Claire made a decision that stunned everyone. At the company's all-hands meeting, she stood before hundreds of employees and said, "Yesterday, one of our own saved my life. He's not an executive, not a manager, he's a janitor. His name is Ethan Cole. And today, I want everyone here to remember that courage, loyalty, and heart don't depend on a title." The crowd erupted in applause as Ethan stood, overwhelmed, his eyes glistening. But Claire didn't stop there. She promoted Ethan to the company's safety supervisor, tripled his salary, and arranged a full scholarship for Lucy's education. The moment he heard that, his voice cracked, and he whispered, "Thank you, ma'am. You don't know what this means." Claire smiled softly and replied, "I think I do." Word of the story spread beyond the company. News outlets picked it up, calling Ethan the hero janitor. But to him, he was just a father who did what he thought was right. His only reward was seeing Lucy smile with pride when she said, "That's my dad." Months later, Ethan's life looked completely different. He could finally afford a small home near Lucy's school. He didn't have to worry about rent or food. Every night, he tucked her in and whispered, "We made it, sweetheart." And sometimes, when he thought no one was watching, Claire would visit the janitorial staff just to talk, to remind herself that leadership wasn't about power, but about heart. In the end, the story of Ethan and Claire became a quiet legend within Harville Tech. It taught everyone that heroes don't always wear suits or carry titles. Sometimes, they wear gloves and carry mops. And sometimes, all it takes to change someone's life, or save it, is the courage to shout, "Don't get in the car." If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Tales. These stories remind us that no act of bravery or kindness is ever too small. Someone's heart may need this message today. Speech balloon special request: in the comments below, tell us what kindness means to you, and whether you believe one person's compassion can still change the world.